Bitcoin is now 15 years old. Spot Bitcoin ETFs have finally been approved. The catalyst that we've all been waiting for has finally happened. This is huge.
This is not going to be an easy task. Capital is moving, and it's going to move very rapidly.
Smash the like button if you bought Bitcoin before BlackRock. Smash the like button if you're bullish on this entire industry. So what does this all mean for you? Over the next 10 minutes, I'll explain everything. Save this video to reference later. Let's start here. The 24 hours leading up to all of this, the approval, was crazy. This all started in a very anticlimactic way with a fake tweet putting out fake news from a hacked SEC X/Twitter account, basically announcing that all the Bitcoin ETFs have finally been approved. Cryptocurrency holders went crazy for this.
Yes! Yes!
However, people started to question whether this was all legit, whether the SEC would announce on Twitter/X first and then their website second. Minutes later, we found out we got rugged. Gary Gensler tweeting from his personal account. The SEC's Twitter account was compromised. An unauthorized tweet was posted. The SEC has not approved the listings and trading of spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products. Seemed like a major rug pull, and the market got volatile. We don't often take a look at 1-minute charts, but this is what happened minute by minute. The SEC's official Twitter account posted, Bitcoin ETFs are all approved. The market pumped, but then dumped. Interesting that the dump happened actually before Gary Gensler announced that the SEC's Twitter account was hacked. That happened right here. And interestingly, we saw another pump. Then the SEC regained control of their Twitter account. They deleted the original. This happened rather fast. They got control back rather fast. The SEC tweets that they were hacked and have not approved the ETFs, and then the market kind of tapers out. Very curious, this whole order of events. The art, the artist. Even McDonald's was making fun of us. This was out of pocket. Times like this, I remember what the great Elon Musk has said about the SEC.
Look at you.
No, I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
But you're abiding by the settlement, aren't you?
Because I respect the justice system.
However, it happened. Here we are. The Bitcoin ETFs are about to start trading. So now that this is happening, let's talk about the potential impact on Bitcoin's price. And let's go to the experts, like the CBOE digital president, John Palmer. He's seen tons of ETFs and other financial products launch. What can we expect the potential impact of the Bitcoin ETF on Bitcoin's price? Listen to what he says, then we'll go further.
Impact on price. For those who've been speculating the past month or 2 or 3 now that this day is going to come, has it moved as much as it's going to move? Is this the day it gets announced, it moves another 20, 30, 40? I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's hard to expect because we have to really see how the capital flows into the ETF. I think obviously an approval is bullish, but we've seen a big move recently. So the best part here is that there's going to be additional investors that get access to Bitcoin that maybe don't really want to natively hold it themselves.
Do you see it becoming something? I mean, I remember we've had people on this broadcast that come on. Kathy Wood says it goes to $500,000 a Bitcoin. We had people years ago come on and say it'd be $1 million of Bitcoin. Do you think that's directionally where this all goes? Do you think that there's sort of a cap on what it is? Do you think every investor in the world decides that they need to have some portion of their assets in Bitcoin?
I think it depends, again, on how much we see flow in, right? Bitcoin right now, market cap is just over 915 billion, right? So even a successful ETF launch in 1 year could be 10 or $15 billion in AUM. That would be quite successful compared to some of, even some of the most successful ETF launches. So even that is, we're only talking 1 or 2% of the current market cap of Bitcoin. So how much is that really going to inflate the price, to the levels you mentioned, 500,000 or $1 million? Time will tell. But again, we also know there's a fixed supply of Bitcoin. So how that impacts the supply and demand dynamics of the market and how much capital is actually flowing into the ETFs, I think will be very focused.
It all depends how much Bitcoin flows in. It all depends how much Bitcoin flows in. Well, let me give you some insight into how institutions are thinking about Bitcoin this new asset that they can invest in. Listen.
One other thing I will say about Bitcoin that I think people don't understand, and this is part of the innovation that's really important. Think about Bitcoin's a commodity, right? The SEC said it's a commodity. It is a commodity. One coin's the same as the next. Okay, fine. Every commodity in the world, if you increase its price, the supply goes up. If gold went to 10,000 tomorrow, we'd mine more gold. If corn went up, if oil went to $300 a barrel, we'd drill for more oil. You would get more, higher price, you would get more. No matter where the price of Bitcoin goes, the issuance schedule is set. There's not going to be any more. It comes out, every block is, 6.25 coins right now, soon to be half of that. So, that's unique. And as a result of that, the world has never seen anything that really kind of looks like this, which is why, Ronnie Stofferly had a great chart on it. Showed, Bitcoin from inception has grown at 145% compound annually, and it's got a lower Sharpe ratio than any other asset. This is an amazing beast. It really is. And so I, look, but it's volatile, and to some it's scary, and I get all of that. But, I've long contended that anybody who has zero of this is really, really missing the most asymmetric bet that I've ever seen in 40 plus years of trying to make asymmetric bets.
So what are the numbers? Because really the only question is, what will the inflows be? Now, it's very interesting. We already know that millions and millions have been seeded into these ETFs. Funds are starting to flow.
Capital is moving, and it's going to move very rapidly.
We also got this piece of news. We reported this to the other day. This would be big. BlackRock has lined up over $2 billion for the very first week for their Bitcoin ETF launch. The question is, can we confirm this? Is this true? What happens next if this is true? And we can confirm this. Bloomberg analyst Eric Balchunas says he was able to confirm reports for the BlackRock ETF that they have already lined up $2 billion in investments. And he explains why they do this. Listen to him. So much insight.
Okay, so I was able to corroborate that piece of information. First of all, it came from Van Eck. That guy's very reputable. I know, but he doesn't want to say that. So the fact that he would volunteer that tells me it's probably true. He would rather not that be true, right? So it's not like he has anything to gain from that. And then I corroborate it with somebody who's very inside this industry. So I've got two people saying that it's true. Now, BlackRock also has a history of doing this. When they launched some of their ESG ETFs, they lined up some institutional investors. So when it launched, they didn't put it in a seed. They actually had to come in the first day as if it were a big flow. So when you look at the top successful day one and week one ETFs ever, I think BlackRock's 6 or 7 out of the top 10, simply because of this lining up of money thing. It's a way to sort of game the system in a way. Well, it's totally fine. Honestly, if you're going to put $2 billion in, you'd rather put it in on day one so it shows up as flow and volume versus before. It's smart PR, because when you have $2 billion in a fund and the volume's big and the flows look good, also looks like there's a party going on. It's like, oh, I want to be part of that party. So volume and assets are the strongest marketing out there. And so it makes total sense for them to do this. They are very shrewd, and they've done it before. So it lines up with their history. And I've got 2 sources. So I also know a couple issuers who are planning something similar, although I don't think the funds are nearly that big. But if we have BlackRock at 2, and we have, let's say, 2 other issuers at like 300 million, something like that, you're already looking right there at a record day one or week one of all time.
Record inflows are what we're looking at, particularly because even in the final hours, each applicant was slashing their fees. The Bitcoin ETF fees just keep dropping. BlackRock has just cut the fee on spot Bitcoin ETF to just 0.25%. They're really going for the jugular here, looking to crush the others before they're even born. Just brutal. ARK also cut, Bitwise cut even lower, Terror Dome Life. The big question I've been seeing in the comments is, hey, how easily can they just increase their fees later? And the answer is, they won't. They don't. ETFs only cut fees. They never raise them. Advisors would flip out if they did this. Their brands would be stained. This is reason number 36 why ETFs are so popular with investors. They don't pull it like that. Money flows to where it's treated best. Understand this. Understand the fee slashing we have been seeing up until the final hours. By this evening, somebody is going to be offering a free Tesla and a date with their sister for you to choose their ETF instead of the others. These fees are insanely low. So understand the sentiment around Bitcoin and crypto as an asset class in the mainstream has just flipped in such a pivotal way. This is how the mainstream is talking about Bitcoin now.
I'm very excited about this. I've had differences of opinion with people about the use case of Bitcoin, but there's no doubt that owning Bitcoin in an ETF structure is far safer than the current system. Those who want to, this is the safe way to own it. Just like owning a gold ETF in 2004, all of a sudden all these old guys with gold coins in their basement, hoarding them. I lost the lock to the key, and people losing their passwords to Bitcoin.
There's an ETF?
Now there's an ETF, and nobody worries about holding gold in the basement. You can if you want. Go ahead, knock yourself out, but nobody worries about it anymore.
So now that the BlackRock ETF plus 10 others have officially happened, I'm anticipating Bitcoin prices this cycle certainly over all-time highs, certainly hitting 100K. I think between 100K and 200K is not only possible, now it becomes way more likely. Guys, subscribe to the channel, join the Altcoin Daily team. This bull market is just getting started because now the question is, besides the inflows into the Bitcoin ETF, now the narrative and anticipation is around who's next. BlackRock has applied for an Ethereum ETF. Many people think an XRP ETF could come into fruition. I think a Solana ETF before XRP. I think Ethereum first. I think a basket of alts is certainly likely in the future, but it's, that's what I think. It's interesting that the CIO of Valkyrie says that, hey, Ethereum ETF, maybe XRP before Ethereum. This is possible. Subscribe to the channel. See you tomorrow.
How soon before you turn around and try to make other spot products for different crypto assets?
I think we're going to see a lot of filings come out for Ethereum. I even think we might see something for Ripple, given the recent progress. You notice that Grayscale just added Ripple to one of their trusts. It's publicly traded. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Ripple or Ethereum spot ETFs out there. I really don't know if we're going to do that or not. I think those are more retail plays and people have other ways to access them. But given that this market, anything can happen, anything could happen.